So there's the thing, we might have a small problem. Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Let's start! Gosh, okay.
Very rarely am I afraid to hit publish on a video. Sure, there are theories that I know are gonna end up being controversial, but at the end of the day, they're all just meant for fun. There are a few out there that are about actual real topics that matter. The stuff about how loot boxes and mobile games hijack your brain, but overall, 95% of the time, my theories are never meant to be taken seriously. Just to get you to think about your favorite games and movies critically. Or
True, just some simple critical thoughts. It's nice to have, but not to take it too seriously sometimes. Sometimes, try not to take too seriously.
or through some different perspective. At the end of the day, does it really matter if Mario's a sociopath? Or if Link is dead? Or that I nail who Purple Guy's true identity is finally after like 15 attempts? My
Pink Club! Or is it Purple Club? Ugh.
philosophy has always been that it doesn't. That it's more about listening to the evidence and hearing a good story. Enabling you to play the original Super Mario Brothers with the knowledge that, canonically speaking, all those blocks that you're rewarded for hitting were indeed members of the Mushroom Kingdom. And maybe you shouldn't go around breaking them all willy-nilly if you truly are the hero of the game. I know some people get really mad about that philosophy. And so I'd like to remind you that this is a show that once calculated the length of Luigi's hoo-ha. Don't get me wrong, I take my work and my research in all of these episodes really seriously. But at the end of the day, it's all meant for entertainment, for fun, with a little dose of education on the side. That's why I honestly started making these sorts of couch videos. These are the ones that are just a little bit more personal and a little bit more important.
A little bit more personal, a little more important. Just genuine, honesty, truth.
Quite frankly. And today, I'm legitimately nervous to publish this video. Because today, it's talking about stuff in the real world. Real stuff that really matters, and that I take really seriously. Now today you may have noticed that your sub box were hit with the old 1-2 punch of uploads. One, game theory, and one, this, Matpat talk time, I guess you could call it. And that's because before you watch that episode of Game Theory, you really should watch this video. That episode is all about the Scott Cawthon Fanart scandal. About he releases a teaser for his new FNAF VR game, but with one major issue. Two of the characters featured in that teaser weren't his original work. They were actually recolored, modified fan models that were so close to the original designs of the characters that the team working on this new game couldn't tell the difference. It was definitely a huge oopsie moment, and Scott did the right thing by pulling the teaser off the internet, but where that episode looks at all the weird legal wrinkles around that whole situation, I wanted to upload something else that looked at the human side of things. Because if there's one complaint that I always see in online threads about why this channel makes them so mad and why they hate me so much, it's that I steal fan art. And I've never really publicly addressed that. So today is all about fan art. How we do things here when we're working on theories, the steps we go to try and avoid any unintentional issues, and how you, as a fan artist, can actually be better empowered to protect your own work. Because honestly, there aren't many resources out there. And
Like, I still remember back in the day, seems like, here's a fan art for you. Like, I really like your work. I want to show my appreciation for your work. Thank you. Nowadays, there's a lot of loophole here and there.
I legitimately want to help. First off, let me just say that I totally relate to Scott's situation. As an example, last episode, we had a 3-second segment where I mentioned FNAF 6's salvage minigames, and the editor delivered me a first draft that looked a little something like this. Basically the entirety of FNAF 6's salvage minigames. Did you notice it? Let me play it again. Basically the entirety of FNAF 6's salvage minigames, 2 of the 3 images that we just showed don't actually appear in FNAF 6. They're fan-made from a modded version of the game where you can play through different animatronic scenarios. Now, after looking for the mod, I can only trace it back to here. Ben the Hybrid's YouTube channel, so I have to assume that he's the one who is actively making these mods and then just featuring them on the channel for views. But even then, that one image of Golden Freddy at the salvage table has been reposted without credit on 6 or so other websites. Anyway, I left the notes in the draft calling out the mistake, and the final scene went a little something like this. Basically the entirety of FNAF 6's salvage minigames, 3 scenes directly from the game. Much better. Now, that example was an easy one to spot because it came from a very prominent gameplay moment. Things start to get a little bit trickier though when you're taking individual character models. Here's another one that came up in the same episode draft. You have Freddy, Foxy, and Bonnie. Notice the problem here? It's not the official model of Bonnie. The face and nose are just a little bit too round. In seeing the draft, I wasn't 100% sure of it myself, but I called it out in the notes and changed it just to be safe. And now that I've gone back and done a bit more research, I can indeed say that this is a fan model. Credit to Kiddu the Man on Reddit. But if you're image searching for FNAF 1 Bonnie, it is the first result that shows up in Google Images, something that again has been reposted and recredited dozens of times. And remember, some of these fan models are so good that Scott Cawthon himself isn't catching them.
And yeah, the game creator himself makes mistakes. So please understand that we are all humans. We make mistakes too.
Just like I'm working with a team of editors who aren't as familiar with FNAF as
I would never want to know as much
I am.
as Spectre.
Scott is working with a team who isn't as familiar with the franchise that he himself created, but he still had to approve that image before it wound up on his website. That one image. Meanwhile, in just the 2 examples from Game Theory, we covered 4 seconds of what ended up being an 18-minute long video where we use hundreds of video assets for just that one episode. Now, does it excuse any mistakes that slip through the cracks? No. No, it doesn't. I'm not pretending that it does.
True.
But hopefully this helps you to at least get a better understanding that I'm not sitting here as some mustache-twirling villain trying to intentionally steal other people's creations for his own benefit. And unlike Scott, too, we're not just doing it with one franchise that we happen to create, we're doing it with every game that we cover, each with their own robust fan communities, oftentimes with different artwork that gets featured in different territories around the world. Here's another one that came up recently from the Kirby episode. This Kirby Star Allies box art. On Twitter, I received this tweet, quote, "This is just a new low. I mean, not only did you neglect to use the official art, you used a fan's mock-up without even creating them. I can't believe it. How does something like this even happen?" Well, first off, a new low. Friend, have you seen the Persona video?
Oh, ouch, burn.
For Honor one. Let me explain to you how it could happen. You Google image search Kirby Star Allies box art and you find it. Right there, search result number 3. There's no watermark. There's nothing indicating the original author. The thing even has an ESRB rating and an amiibo tag in the corners. All the translated stuff in the screen grabs on the back, it's there. It looks legit. Even if you click into this link on Reddit, the post itself doesn't say that this is something that the poster had made, but rather titled it Box Art Version 2. We just assumed it was an alternate version of the game's box art, especially considering that this is a series with vastly different boxes internationally sometimes. I mean, take this example, Kirby's Air Ride for the GameCube. They always make Kirby seem so angry in the US. Anyway, if an editor actually gave me a draft of a video that featured the box art on...
It's like, Kirby! Kirby! Oh my gosh, I should have done
on the right, I would probably call it out as fan art, since the coloring of Kirby feels a bit too neon. Feels just a bit off from his usual brand, or at least his usual brand here in the States. I would assume it was probably fan art and we would cut it just to be safe. Anyway, the long and short of this whole example is that this fan art was box art that was maybe created by Reddit user Cliche Name, who, as far as I can tell based on his profile, just happens to make really convincing fake box art for Nintendo Switch games. Again, this isn't me trying to condone any mistakes, it's just trying to show how easy it is for some of this stuff to unintentionally slip through the cracks. You know, the culture around fan art has changed a lot. over the years. This channel is going on 8 years old.
10 years.
I'm like the middle-aged
Actually, more than 10 years.
dad of YouTube right now. Younger than Granny Marbles and Great Uncle Smosh, but old enough to remember the days when you rated videos from 1 to 5 stars and they gave out awards for getting the most views in a week. Yeah, the
Most views in a week! Yeah! Oh no, that's nostalgic.
those were real things back in the day. Now, in those early days of game theory, if I used fan art, I would actually get messages from the artists saying that it was so cool that I had used their art in a video. Nothing else, just, hey, thanks. Glad you liked it. It was sort of like how people treat meme templates nowadays. If you're using a meme, you have no idea who the originator of that template was, but there was an originator, a first user. Whether they came from the meme economy subreddit or Tumblr or the darker recesses of the internet that produced the truly dankest of dank memes. Fan art kind of felt like that. It's also worth mentioning that back during the first 2 to 3 years of game theory, years of game theory, mind you, I wasn't monetizing any of my videos. So I wasn't making money off of anyone else's fan art because I literally wasn't making any money for myself. The channel had almost 1 million subscribers before I turned monetization on. Funny enough, because I was afraid of getting copyright strikes from gaming companies and YouTube would delete my channel. You know, come to think of it, maybe that's why it was less of a big deal back then to use fan art. The idea of building a personal brand around your art or your YouTube channel just wasn't a thing to a lot of us back then. You didn't think about making money off of this stuff, especially when you were dealing with someone else's game characters.
Yes, you were just being very inspirational and very genuine to say that I like your art. This is what I think about it.
We were all just the little guys scared of the big guys, and the big guys were the game makers. And then 4 years ago, something big happened. Something that fundamentally changed the relationship between YouTuber and fan artist.
Note that he mentioned 4 years ago, which is 6 years from now. 6 years, that's a lot of years.
Or at least the way I perceived that relationship. And that big thing was named Smike. For those of you who weren't around to see it, Smike was a channel that skyrocketed to over 1 million subscribers during the initial Five Nights at Freddy's craze. He had a non-stop barrage of top 10 videos dedicated to all things FNAF. And when I say all things FNAF, I mean all things FNAF. I mean, when you're doing top 10 facts about the cupcake, you know that you've crossed into some unholy ground. Cue the "it's time to stop" meme. And now cue the "it's time to stop" meme that inspired my "it's time to stop" meme. Great. So much so that the running joke of the Smike
Well, the running joke, it's interesting to know, you know. It's just very interesting to know.
channel was that Smike was smilking FNAF. But that wasn't the issue. Plenty of YouTubers milk a franchise to death. The issue was that he filled his videos with fan art. Uncredited fan art. And for the first time, a creator was actually held accountable, seen as building this hugely successful channel using stuff that he had stolen from dozens upon dozens of other creators. So much so that he had to make a public apology and pull down all of those old videos. Which I gotta say is a bummer, because I really wanted to revisit what Cupcake number 3 fact was. I need my facts, Mike. FNAF is coming back into relevance. I need to refresh myself. But it was that moment that I realized that I needed to treat fan art more seriously. Based on that incident 4 years ago, in May of 2015, I actually changed the entire policy about how images are used on game theory, and would eventually be used on film theory. I still have the emails, in fact. It's just not something I've ever talked about publicly, so I think a lot of people think that this was an issue that I never addressed or took seriously, but that couldn't be further from the truth. And this is really the place where I want to set that record straight. For every game theory episode, every single person who's ever edited a video, for myself, for anyone who ever touches one of these things, they have to follow strict guidelines on what images we can and can't use.
Alright, so this is very educational. Everyone everyone who is watching this video right now, please remember, right now it's very important. Please pay close attention. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We only use images that are marked in Google image search results as labeled for commercial reuse or reuse with modification. An image with either of those two labels is one that you're allowed to download, print, and throw up in your house if you want to, but also allows you to use it in your business, hence the commercial part of commercial reuse. That way, theoretically speaking, every image we use should be in the clear. In general, if you're a YouTube creator, this is where I'd recommend you get all your images when you're looking for images for your videos. Now, all that said, it's not a perfect system. Clearly, we still run into instances where we're using other people's fan art unintentionally, but you know me. I'm an uber nerd who loves to keep track of all the data about everything, and so I've been keeping track of the data around this, and most of the time when these situations arise, it's usually a combination of these two reasons. First, the image was mislabeled by Google Images, which is usually the result of two, the image already being reposted by some other website who has the licensed for reuse setting automatically turned on for their accounts. It even happens a lot on the fan wikis. When situations like this happen, I feel horrible. It's painful, it's embarrassing, I beat myself up over it, the internet definitely beats me up over it.
We beat ourselves up too.
And quite frankly, some people never let me live down the few mistakes that we've made across the literal sea of tens of thousands of images that we've used across the 8 years of this series. When these things happen, I do try to get the proper credit into the episode as soon as I can. You can ask Popokino, or It's Me Veronica, or Potato Farm 21, all on Reddit. After speaking with these people and learning about the difficulties that they had in trying to reach me about their crediting claims, I've even updated the descriptions on the channels to encourage people to post on the Game Theorist subreddit, which tends to be the easiest place for me to find these sorts of complaints. Like I said, no solution is perfect, but I've tried to solve the problem from a lot of different angles. From the way we do things here internally when we're creating episodes, to the way that people externally can contact us to fix these sorts of issues. But there is a third angle, but it's one that requires a little bit more work from you. Fan artists, protect yourself using these 3 steps. First, check the policy of the sites where you're uploading your content, or double check your image use policies to ensure that the settings match how you want your art to be used. It'll help.
It's very important to do a double check to recognize that, well, you are protected. Safety first.
Protect your artwork from unfair sharing, or at least it'll protect it a little bit better. 2, sign your work. And then 3, watermark that work so it can't be mistaken as official artwork or shared without your name being attached to it. And lastly, this isn't so much a step as it is a request. Give us the benefit of the doubt. I hope I've convinced you today that these sorts of mistakes aren't happening maliciously. I'm sorry that your work unfortunately got wrapped up in us continuing to try and learn how to best handle these nuanced situations, but hopefully it'll help empower all of us to deal with similar situations in the future. We'll finally have a better understanding of how to handle fan art. It's interesting, but the whole evolution of fan art online reflects some of the best and worst parts of online culture, all wrapped up in one. Fan art is, at its core, a reimagining of your favorite character or game, and it gives everyone a chance to show the world that their favorite story can be told through their own personal lens.
True, their favorite story can be told from their own personal lens. My own story, my own protagonist, my own hero. Now that's interesting, isn't it?
Used to be that each piece of content out there in the world was its own little package. That when the end credits rolled, the movie was over. Fan art changes all of that. Through fan art, the movie goes on to be infinitely reinterpreted. The TV show can go in whatever direction the artist imagines, and that YouTuber that you love so much can be placed into any art form. Any meme, any edit, mashup, sparkly Snapchat puppy filter you can dream up. The content is no longer just the endpoint. It's the beginning. It takes on a new life, whether you're drawing your favorite ship, writing a fanfic, or crafting a theory. And yeah, game theory as a show is itself a form of fan art, which is why I do take this stuff really seriously. Sometimes the original artist might not be comfortable with your interpretation. Like, I can't say I totally agree with all the online ships that I see on Wattpad or the unbelievable number of children that I've apparently adopted over in those stories, but the thing about the internet is that it's all open to interpretation. Whether or not J.K. Rowling really did intend for so-and-so to be dating such and such in their earlier days, it doesn't matter, because once those stories are published and those movies are released, the power passes from the creator to the fan artist. and frankly, the internet theorists, to interpret the stories however they want. When we advise people on the consulting side who are building a new YouTube channel or trying to launch their brand online, one of the things that we tell them over and over again is that their logo or their main character should be easy to draw, so that fan artists can have an easier time recreating it and riffing on it. Most of the time, they've never even thought of that sort of thing. Like, it's never occurred to them. But I think more and more you're going to start to see people, celebrities, companies, all looking to people who have the power to take their idea and run with it, to reinterpret it, to make it much more powerful than the original. The people talking about it, writing about it, drawing, painting, animating, and editing it here on the internet. So, okay. All that is to say that the power of fan art and the importance of respecting fan artists has come a long way on the internet.
True.
I've also come a long way. But I'm on this learning curve just along with everyone else. I'm only human. Sometimes I use something without realizing it's fan art, and so do other people.
Well, there's a saying from Bruce Lee. I'm so sorry if I got it wrong. Mistakes are always mistakes are always forgivable, as long as one have the courage to admit them. Was it if one have the courage to admit them? Something around the line. Yes.
If you see this happen, not just to me, but on the internet at large, try not to assume that the person is a thief or malicious or trying to take advantage of the little guy. The internet is just an enormous place, and there are billions upon billions of contributors everywhere. Save cancel culture for something else, something that really matters. And with that, I think I'm done here. Go, get on out of here. Go watch that FNAF episode I uploaded alongside this one. I wanted to make sure I uploaded them together because I didn't want anyone to think that I was trying to make excuses for using fan art on the channel or get away with something by using the FNAF copyright scandal as some sort of a shield. I did a ton of research over in that episode on who owns the fan art copyrights, who owns the characters themselves, where they have the rights to use them, and on whether Scott was required to actually take down his trailer. I really encourage you to watch all the way through that one because I talk about both sides of the issue. And for a topic that seems super dry, like who owns the copyright?
I can understand the episode can seem like it's super dry. Understandable, alright, it's understandable. Yeah.
Over fan art, it's actually really fascinating and exposes a lot of weird issues about France and about how your pictures of the Eiffel Tower are probably illegal. Pretty fascinating stuff over there. So anyway, go check it out, click the little box, and remember, that's not a theory.
That's not a theory? What? That's not a theory? What?
It's a talk. A couch talk. Thanks for watching. It's just story time? Story time with Matpat. I don't know. If you have an idea for how I should brand these things, let me know. I'm doing a lot of them nowadays. I like them. Don't know what to call them. Let me know in the comments if you're still listening to me. And if you're still listening to me, why haven't you watched that other episode? Go watch that one now. Do it now. It's like a collab with myself.
Ooh. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. If you do like more of my videos, please consider to like, share, subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Do follow my channel as well. So it's like, share, subscribe, comment, follow, and yeah, do subscribe. Thank you. And thank you so much for watching this video. This video came up from the YouTube channel, The Game Theorists. If you do like this video, please consider to like, share and subscribe to their channel and comment down below on their videos, and also do follow their channel. Do watch more of their work. Their works are amazing. Thank you. I'm a huge fan, by the way. And I will see you next time. But hey, that's just theory. It's not theory. But hey, that's just a talk. A couch talk. Thanks for watching. Storytime with Matpat. Yeah.